We also are slated.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Guardians of the CLE podcast.
Slated to.
You see, it's just me, Melanie, here tonight. My co-host James
happens at
taking care of some things.
So we're slated to have.
So it's going to be just me. I'm riding solo for one more week.
Next Wednesday, but
happy
again,
Tanner Bibee bump day to all who celebrate.
To get called up.
The kid
to the
absolutely shoved
makes a
in
start
his
up
Major
there.
League
So
debut today.
We're gonna see how all this plays
Obviously
out. But
gonna
that's the plan.
be diving
so make sure you're
deeply into that here shortly.
Page at Guardians OTCLE.
Other than
Stay
that,
up to date
not
on the latest
much
news
positive
that.
going on with the Cleveland Guardians.
What do I mean by
outside
Tanner
of
Bibee coming up?
The
to
two
the
rookie
majors?
starting pitcher
Obviously,
debuts.
it's been a hot topic.
The Guardians just don't have home cooking here in the early going,
and me included.
I mean, luckily Logan and Tanner Bibee gave them a chance for
Hunter Gaddis was
their only 2 wins on
AAA
this current 6-game homestand that just wrapped up.
Who literally just got
the boys
to
get to enjoy another phenomenal debut before
then he got to go
heading
right
out
back
to Boston and New
York
on the next road trip.
For a game he didn't
then they'll
even
be back
into.
home to face
I have a lot
the
to
Twins,
say about
Tigers,
that. It just
and
really
Angels.
to me, and I know I talked
as we all know, the
about
schedule in May
on Twitter
it's
last
a tad
night.
bit tougher, so it would have been nice
to
get
into that here shortly.
The team stack up a few more wins during what was supposed to be the easier part of this schedule in the early going.
Yet again, he gave up 3 runs.
But before we get to all that stuff, and
this
I asked you guys all for some topics you want to discuss, any questions you had.
Yankees. I happen to be in attendance
on this episode this week.
He didn't look good at all.
It's just me.
And his issue seems
so I got
a
few of those
really,
we'll get to later in the episode as well.
Once it gets to
as you guys heard on last week's episode,
so
we were actually set to have Scott Bibee, Tanner Bibee's dad, on tonight. Obviously, he had some more important things to attend to today. So we can't wait to have him on here in the near future.
He was throwing 90-mile-an-hour beach balls.
What an incredible debut Tanner Bibee had today
in Detroit.
So on that note,
how
about we get to the positives here
first?
With
that being said, the question
pitching
now becomes,
factory has absolutely been reopened.
So obviously,
this next wave of young pitching talent here,
included. He is by
and
far
honestly,
the most
guys, I don't think it's going anywhere
prospect.
anytime soon.
He's
I'm
essentially
seeing a lot of people worried on the
accounts.
timeline that Tanner Bibee is going to get sent right back down.
A few more starts in AAA.
I know
it's
been
been great to start this year, but
that this team
after
has
his
handled
promotion to AAA last year, he really,
in the past
struggled
with service
down
time
in
manipulation
Columbus,
and
I think would do
things
him
of that
well to get a
nature.
few more
But
starts
honestly,
in. But I think
we're
pretty much
desperate for pitching right now
well.
between the injuries and the ineffectiveness of the guys that started the year in the rotation. They could take all the innings they can get right now,
the weather.
Especially when you're getting
Miami's
8
strikeouts
for a
3-game
over 6 innings,
starting Friday,
1 run.
And
there's no way you
can
can send Logan Allen and Tanner Bibee
rain is
back to
in the
AAA
forecast
right
for Friday and Saturday for sure.
I've talked about this at
nauseam on if there's a window big enough to get.
We all know things change with expectations, and it's not just the fans who have expectations.
There might be a doubleheader, which could really make things
the team
more
themselves. You know, we've talked about it on here that
you got
Tito and
one day,
Chris Antonetti have talked all offseason that they really did not want to just be a feel-good story last year.
So that's
like, oh, that's so cute.
But
I
think
what the young Guardians were able to accomplish.
There is no doubleheader, and
they wanted to build off that. They wanted to come out here this year.
Obviously,
they wanted to win the division, and they wanted to go further than the ALDS, just like we all wanted them to.
You have Xavier Curry.
Obviously, they're more frustrated than we are right now. It's shown on them in their body language. They're frustrated.
He's done a damn good job.
They're not doing this on purpose. There's no need to send personal attacks to them and tag them in weird tweets.
Still probably
that's not going to accomplish anything. Heckle them in the outfield. Any of that stuff. It's just weird. Just keep that weird energy away.
Me personally.
But I do wonder,
like to leave him in that
I've been having some conversations with people about this over the last couple of days.
I just don't know if I want to mess with that.
I
because
almost
we're not
wonder
get a ton
if
of depth out
with
of our
such a young
starters right now.
team,
So he's interesting.
not that they expected to
You have
just
Connor
get handed the
Pilkington.
division.
Not exciting. We
But
saw
I
what he
do
had
wonder
last
if they
year.
didn't
He's
quite
on the
work
40.
as hard.
He was the 27th man for the doubleheader Tuesday. Never got in the game.
Season.
But he's really been
it's
struggling
documented
at Columbus,
in spring
so I have
training.
a hard time
Stephen
thinking it's
Kwan
him.
just kind of lightheartedly,
And
jokingly
then
was
there's
like,
Tanner
I didn't
Bibee,
do
who
much
is
of any
just
work this
blowing
offseason. I
AAA
slept
away.
till noon and I played video games
Last
most
night
of the
he had
day.
an interesting start. He went 4 1/3
Which
innings.
is cool.
Allowed an uncharacteristic 3
but like
runs
then when
on
you
5
start
walks.
out and you have a
However, I've heard
2-3
from
week
many
stretch
people
where you're
who
not
watched
hitting
the game that
anything,
the
then it looks
umpire
a
was
little
just
weird.
unreasonable.
Just with anything else,
So I'm not going to look too much
the
into
team
it.
got off to a hot offensive
However,
start. We're
you
not
know,
even talking about any of this.
I also heard that his
but I do
command
think some
wasn't
of the
as
concerns
precise
people
as
have
usual,
are
but all his
reasonable.
starts up until yesterday
There's other
have been
ones floating
very,
around
very
out there
good.
that I don't think are so
For
reasonable.
example,
So
his
we'll get to
previous
some of
start
that here
came
shortly
on,
as well.
April
Just kind of like a
13th.
little
He
side
went
rant
6
there.
innings, allowed
We're gonna
no
get back on
runs,
track.
1 hit, 2
The
walks,
positives,
and 6
right?
strikeouts.
So Logan
Overall,
Allen
in the year, he's
was the
2-0
first
with a
one
1.76
to get the call on
ERA
Sunday.
in 3
And
starts.
the lefty
It has
was
19
sensational.
strikeouts and 15
He
in
went
the
a
third
full
innings.
6 innings,
So,
allowed only 1
again,
run,
I know a
8
question with him has
strikeouts
been
and a
holding
walk.
that velocity,
He
kind of
earned
the
the
same
win.
thing we just talked
It was
about with Hunter
the
Gaddis, just
only
to a
win
lesser
to avoid
extent.
getting swept
He
by the
seemed to do
Miami
that well in his
Marlins,
last
which
start,
is just
so
downright embarrassing,
all good signs
especially
there.
when Sandy
Of
Alcantara
course,
does
he's gonna
not
have some
pitch.
hiccups. He's human.
I don't
And
know
when
what
he
it
does
is
come
with
up,
soft
we can't expect
tossing
him
lefties. We just saw it in
to
the
just blow
Colorado
people away
series
right
too.
away. He's gonna
I
be a
don't
rookie.
understand
He
it.
might have
This
some
team
jitters.
will swing right
He
over
is
the top
human,
at
and he's gonna
89
make
miles
mistakes.
an
So we
hour
all
right
need to
down the
keep
middle of
that
the
in
plate.
mind and kind of
They
reel
can
back
hit
our
velocity.
expectations of Tanner
It's
Bibee
something
right off
about
the rip.
this, the off speed and
And it's
the
a defense
90 mile
mechanism.
an
Then
hour
when he does great,
fastballs
you
that
can be
just
really
has
happy.
been a hiccup
And,
for
you know,
this
if he
team
struggles
for
right off the
multiple
bat,
years
you could,
now.
you know, you could say you expected it.
But
So
Logan Allen,
another issue,
you know,
from
put them
this
in
past week
a good position to
is
avoid the
what
sweep.
is wrong
Sunday,
with the bullpen.
the bats
right?
came alive a
The
little bit
bullpen
just to die off
has
again
blown
on
2
Monday when the
late inning
Colorado
leads,
Rockies came to
late
town.
8th, 9th
So
inning.
today was also
And let's
always
start with
a
James
question mark on the
Karinchak.
schedule with the rain, with the weather
Karinchak.
over
He's
the last
either
week. And
throwing
obviously the
meatballs,
injuries the
guys are
rotation has
hitting
seen.
balls 400 feet,
So
or he's
it
striking
had
guys
been
out.
said
It's
that
just the
Xavier
volatility
Curry, Connor
of him in
Pilkington, and Tanner
particular, let
Bibee
alone
were all
relief
considered
pitchers in
options
general
for
are
today.
already volatile.
So Curry, once again,
He's allowed 3
they got
home
called
runs
into
already,
action.
and all 3 have resulted in us
Again,
losing
to clean
the
up
game.
after Cal Quantrill's
His spin
poor
rates
outing on
are down
Monday.
dramatically.
Cal
on
only
his
went 3 1/3
fastball.
innings, gave up 5
I'm talking
runs
like
on
a
8 hits, 2 walks and 2 strikeouts.
all the way down
Never
into
gave the team a chance to win.
So that's an issue. He's not
and this
missing as
is
many
my
bats.
argument.
And
Why
he
getting a
struggles
good
with his
outing
curveball
from
command
your
at times.
starter
We
is
saw that
important for
earlier
the
in the year
offense.
when the Seattle crowd
Because you
was
can't
heckling
tell
him
me
a
that
little
it
bit.
doesn't affect these
And then
guys
the rest of the time, he just gets in his own way
headspace
sometimes.
when they're
So I
down
think to
3
save James
0, 4
Karinchak
0,
from
5
himself, you
0
need
in
to
the
kinda
first,
step
second,
him
or
back
third
maybe
inning.
into the 6th or
That
7th
matters.
inning.
I really do
Just
think it
until he
changes
can
your
kinda
approach, whether they want to admit it
figure
does or
out
not.
whatever it is that's messing
There's no
with
way
him.
that it doesn't. Everybody was trying to do
Which
too
would be
much.
fine
They've
if
been
he were the
swinging
only
at
issue.
everything.
But then
And
we
that's
have
not
Trevor
who
Steppen,
this
our
team is.
lights out
Right?
setup man.
They already have
from
their
last year.
downfalls
Big part of the reason
in the
we
fact
took
that they're
the
a
Yankees to
contact
5
team.
in the ALDS.
We know that this team does
but
not
his
consistently
velocity
hit for power.
way down.
They're not
And
barreling
he's
baseballs
just not
up
getting strikeouts
on a consistent basis
at the rate he was last year.
And
he had like 11.6 strikeouts.
not
per
all
9
contact
last
is
year.
created
I think he's in the
equal.
9s so far.
And what do
this
I
year,
mean by
so
that?
Not a huge drop off.
We
but
saw
it's
Josh
definitely
Naylor
something to keep an eye
yesterday
on.
roll over
He hasn't had a
on
clean
3
inning since April 2nd
ground
in
outs to second
Seattle.
base.
But
Did he strike
on the
out?
positive side, he's only
No.
given up 2 runs.
Did he help the team
in those appearances?
win
so
the
I could
game
see him
yesterday?
turning it around. I see
Also
hope
no.
there.
Right,
And
so
I already
it's going to
mentioned
make the
Xavier
contact
Curry.
numbers look
He's
good.
excelled in his long relief
And yeah,
role.
you know, the Guardians
Looks
are bottom
comfortable.
5 in the
He's
league.
pitched 12 innings,
Well,
only
top
allowed
5,
5
however you
runs,
want to
and
look
3
at
of
it,
them came
in
in
not
relief
striking
of
out.
Hunter Gaddis.
But it's like if you're just rolling over on grounders, that's not good either. They need to be barreling the baseball.
Only walked 3, and he's got a whip right around
and they haven't been doing that. So I think when they get undisciplined at the plate, it's just magnifying that problem him even more. And we saw it last year. They went through their rough stretch in April
Nick Sandlin
in Yankee Stadium, and they went out to LA to face the Angels.
Nick Sandlin
and then again around 4th of July weekend,
he was part of the bullpen
when they were in Detroit
Sunday
facing the Tigers for 4.
He came in after Tim
a team like this is prone to slumps because those grounders aren't always going to find
the
holes.
offense scored,
and it's a lot harder to come back from a 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 deficit when you need 5 singles instead of a 3-run homer.
He allowed a walk and a hit.
So that's when it matters.
2/3 innings pitched. Trevor
So
Steffen,
again, Cal
who we just
Quantrill
mentioned, came
didn't
in
give
and
him a
relieved
chance
him,
to
allowed
do
an
that on
RBI
Monday.
single to
They were
join
already
an
in the
assist.
hole before they knew it.
And that was all she wrote. We
But
lost the game
while
by
we're on the
one,
topic
didn't
of
make any
Xavier
noise
Curry,
in the bottom of the ninth, and
I don't think it can
seemed
be
like the bats
overstated
have not been the same
just
ever
how
since.
good Zay has been in this long man
And
role.
I kind
Any
of
of you
want
who
to
follow
throw
me
this
on
in
Twitter,
here.
listen to
It's
this
been a
show,
hot
know how
topic
big of a
lately.
fan I am of Xavier
I
Curry.
think our team is so likable as people.
Xavier, the player and the person. He's a great dude.
There's a lot of telling people
you know,
how to
they said on the
fan
broadcast the other day, he's
that's
pretty
where I
much
kinda
willing
have
to
an
do
issue,
whatever
right?
it takes to just not go back to
In
Columbus.
my opinion,
he wants to stick up here and he's willing to
they
do
opened
that.
some eyes.
Nobody
last
wants
year,
to be
right?
the
We didn't
cleanup
expect
guy,
them to
the
make
mop-up
ALDS,
man.
and they
You know,
did.
after your
So
starter
this
gets
year,
yanked
we have
in the
higher
third,
expectations.
fourth, fifth
And with
inning,
higher expectations,
and you're
comes
just out there
frustration,
saving
right?
the bullpen.
The bar is being
especially
raised
when he
just
knew
a
he had a
little bit.
chance to start Wednesday.
So when you're expected to take
right?
that next
But what does
step
he
as a
do?
team,
He comes in and pitches 3 1/3 innings of his own, only allows a walk.
In the past, 2021,
that's
we
just
could leave
been
guys
him
up
this
here
year.
to struggle for a while.
Over the year,
But
he's
now it's
pitched
like we need
15
to
in the
find
third
some
innings,
production,
only
right?
allowed 5
And that's
runs
the
on
issue.
9
The
hits.
entire lineup is struggling at one
3
time.
of those runs
So the
came
struggles
against
of
the
each individual
Yankees
guy are being magnified
when Gaddis got
by
rocked,
the
and the other
whole
2
offense
came
as a
on
whole
one
struggling.
single 2-run
that's
homer to
kinda what's
Ramon
happening
Laureano
here.
in Oakland.
And I'm gonna
Other
be
than that, he's been nearly
objective,
perfect.
right? I'm a fan.
He has a whip
first. I
under
love
1 at
this Guardians
0.85,
team
which is
with
just
everything in me.
spectacular.
I will cheer these
And
guys on
I just
until
want
I
you
don't
all
have
to
any more
think
breath
for a
in my
second
lungs. But
how
I can
decimated,
be
how much
realistic
more
and
decimated
objective.
this pitching would
and
be
I can mention
if
like with the
Xavier wasn't
bullpen.
coming in
These
here
guys are struggling
and giving
they
you 3,
gotta
4
pick it up.
innings.
Not saying
when
they
he
can't
comes in
pick
to
it
clean
up,
up
but it's
after
a fact
one
that
of
they
these
have been wildly
ineffective starters.
inconsistent so far, and they have
So,
cost us games.
I don't think
And
that
we're
can
just
be
not used to that
overstated.
from last
He
year.
deserves his
Is it the
flowers.
pitch
He's
clock? Is it
thriving
the
in that
cold?
role right now.
I don't know. They got to pick it up.
So with that,
Same with the offense. Now
Curry
we're
was
seeing
out of the running to
offense
start
suck.
Wednesday.
The entire Tigers
and then
series
yesterday,
was an absolute
Tim
nightmare.
Herron was sent back down.
But
Sam Hentges is set to return here hopefully over the next
DC
week.
was not all bad. Josh
so they sent the
found
lefty
himself.
Tim Herron down, and Connor Pilkington was recalled
quick, everybody,
to just kind of provide insurance for the bullpen.
Tweeted at me
since
and
Curry did the mop-up duty on Monday.
Sucks, they wasted
well, it's a good thing he was there
because
Peyton Battenfield only managed to go 4 2/3 innings.
We're going to be stuck
he
with him
allowed
another
4
year
runs on 6
so
hits,
bad.
but he also added 4 walks, which caused him to waver.
Last week's episode.
So he didn't get deep into the game.
A slow starter.
So Pilkington had to come in and pitch 2 innings to close that game. So that eliminated him from the running.
What happened this year? First year in a Guardians uniform. I said it before
so
the
that
team
left
headed to
Tanner
DC
Bibee
last
essentially
Thursday, the off day.
But the team didn't announce the
Nationals
starter.
Park is a perfect opportunity for Josh Bell to find his swing
until about 3 hours before first pitch today.
He even mentioned
it ended up being
Pilkington
getting DFA'd. They let him pitch before he got DFA'd. That was nice.
He loves the batter's eye. He loves hitting
but
in
that was to make room
Park.
for
He's
Tanner Bibee on the 40-man and the active 26-man roster.
Did he show it?
So let's get into Bibee's start today. Probably the most anticipated debut.
4 extra base hits, including his first
Sunday
home run of the year.
But before that,
and 3
we haven't
batted in.
Seen a starter this hype come up and make a start.
Respectable 75.
I don't know, years.
It's trending upwards. I think
so
it was
today,
Bibee last week.
A cool 5 2/3 innings.
So
1 run, 6 hits,
league
and 8 strikeouts.
And I have no doubt
almost identical to Logan Allen's line.
Jose,
but they're good friends. They came up through the system together, and Bibee was joking that Logan Allen got the extra 2 outs on him.
The bullpen was shaky.
I think that's funny.
Bieber didn't give him a great start.
Honestly, if you think about it,
great.
Bibee gave up a tough luck run.
And I think the thing was Shane
he got a fly out, but Oscar Gonzalez just couldn't catch it.
I know
he just
found his way
trapping the ball so bad. He dropped it out of his hand twice.
But I think what I'm seeing with Shane Bieber
fell on the ground. It was
way
just
too
a mess.
much to start a game.
I don't even blame Bibee too much for that.
Most
but
definitely that Yankees game. He did not want to make a mistake.
According to
Elias
Sports Bureau,
those hitters.
Tanner Bibee is the first Cleveland pitcher since at least 1920 to record 5+ consecutive strikeouts in a debut.
What happens? Some leak
and he
over
did
the
that
plate.
in the second and the third innings before allowing his first hit of the game.
Usually,
and Mandy Bell had tweeted
but if the offense is struggling, we
guess what else happened in 1920, guys?
3 runs in the first
That's right.
innings.
We won a World Series.
Automatically
is that a coincidence?
From behind.
I don't think so.
For an offense
this year is not
as bad as ours is right now.
But
you want them to try and get an early lead
from Zach Meisel this time.
So there were
Tanner Bibee is now tied with Logan Allen and a couple others. They should have swapped most strikeouts
again
in a debut in team history with 8.
The offense played
only
well enough
behind
to win in
Louis T. with 11.
Hitters Park.
His rotation mate, Tristan McKenzie, with 10.
It's disappointing, and it's okay that it's disappointing.
Just an incredible debut from Tanner Bibee today, and
win the division.
I think we need to give a round of applause to Cam Gallagher too.
Teams like
he called an outstanding game.
In April.
I mean, Bibee didn't seem that nervous, but you sure Cam to kind of have to keep cool. But if we look back, he called a great sequence of pitches.
Games, you don't think
Bibee had great command of his off-speed pitches,
and wonder
he was
what
still shaking off the nerves early and searching for that fastball command. But my goodness, his slider change and curve are just downright filthy.
These guys are going to break out of it.
Had major league hitters
what they do,
looking ridiculous.
It's just disappointing.
Just watching stuff right down the middle because they were looking for something else.
Team as a whole,
like you really can't just sit on one pitch with this dude. You just don't know what's coming, and they're all filthy
all year long. Not even a
fastball was sitting 94 to 97 all day with run.
He's not missing bats, and
it can get even higher than that. Like he's touched 100 multiple times in the minors.
So. We head into Detroit,
interesting.
Right?
Like looking at Bibee start
on the road
today.
Trip. We're feeling all right about ourselves.
I saw on Twitter today during the game and was talking with someone. I think it was Ryan.
Motor City Kitties like we've done over the last.
And he was saying
years,
that his comp for Tanner Bibee was Dylan C.
So Monday's game got rained out,
and I was
so we got a
thinking about it
doubleheader
like,
on
all right,
Tuesday.
that's not a terrible comp.
We have Hunter Gaddis and Peyton.
But like maybe I need to be committed, but I actually think he could be better than
Eduardo
Dylan
Rodriguez going for the
Tigers.
Just
due to his command of his off-speed pitches.
Is not a good pitcher.
Dylan C.
Like this dude.
The one thing he still needs to work on,
and all these pitchers are coming off injuries.
Sometimes he comes out of games before he would otherwise need to.
The majority of
he's walking 3 or 4 guys,
and they came in and just.
I mean, that's so rare for a kid to come up and have that kind of command of his off-speed pitches.
I think that
just incredible. And just to
Eduardo
kind of confirm it post game,
strikeouts.
Tito said with more, some more uncertain weather ahead on the road trip, the plans for Bibee to stay with the team, and they'll just make it work day by day.
And why is this happening? I think about this
great to hear, but
this lineup is good.
My only gripe would be
Josh Bell.
Why does it take uncertain weather?
I thought
for
Stephen
him to
Kwan
stay
was
with the big league
regression
team.
proof. Will Brennan.
I would say his start today definitely earned him at least one more start, whether or not.
We should have got.
I don't know if that's meant to make Zach Plesac feel better that he's in the bullpen right now.
Jose Ramirez,
but I think it's interesting that they made a point to be like, oh yeah,
out on strikes.
Zach Plesac's available out of the bullpen.
Pitch clock violation,
and they did that with him earlier.
They said he wasn't in the box and ready, but Spencer Turnbull.
But that's something to watch moving
wasn't even ready to throw the baseball. So Jose's got 1 foot in the box, 1 foot out, waiting by a rookie this week to get set.
But we're still only 2-4 on the home
stand. Just ridiculous. I guarantee you the umpires will look back on it and they know they missed that one.
Frigid.
But I want to thank the boys.
Nothing's going their way.
They're
hitting balls right at people. Other teams are making great defensive plays where they're just not putting up competitive at bats.
3-run bomb to right
all
field.
Of it's kind of factoring in here.
He was pissed off, and I want him to be
It was funny during the broadcast today. Andre Knott's telling the guys like, "Oh yeah."
I think a big part of
they want to stick to this plan of being disciplined, and they want to follow that plan. They want to work
with
counts.
a 238.
Stephen Kwan had just worked the full count. He ended up striking out. But as Andre Knott's talking about this plan that they want to stick to, Ahmed Rosario hacks away at the first pitch, weak ground out. Just like that, at bat over. Right, and then Jose works a walk. Josh Naylor, swings at the first pitch, but then he hits a 2-run bomb. So
at crucial points in the game.
Hopefully they try to stick to that plan because the way that this team plays, I definitely don't think being undisciplined is going to work in their favor.
We need him to kind of reel it in.
But I think these whole offensive struggles, and they're not the only team struggling. The Yankees are struggling terribly right now until they blew out the Twins today. They also have some injuries that they're dealing with. But it just shows you over the course of a marathon season,
just kind of my thoughts on this middle infield
kind of stuff's going to happen.
So
right, like teams are going to go through
Sunday with a bad back.
There's really no way.
Freeman was called out as insurance to avoid that. And De Los Santos,
but Kwan, he's been in a rough stretch the last couple
got
weeks. He had 4 hits in the series.
Tuesday when Tyler Freeman
that's great to see. Him and Miles Straw at the bottom of the order getting on base
he was
just
out
changes
yesterday.
things.
So the organization decided to call up.
But Josh Naylor, don't look now, but he's starting to look better in his approach versus lefties.
Debut.
Obviously, like I mentioned, cranked the 2-run homer today off a righty.
Didn't even get an
great at bat though.
They just brought him up to sit
and I was
on the
looking
bench
over
for
his baseball savant page today.
Something happened,
and his
to
hard hit
data
is like slightly down.
Then on his way out of town, like I mentioned earlier, they sent him
last
the
year
lineup card for a game that he didn't even
get
in the
hundreds. And his ex-WOBA is the highest in his career. So what that tells me is he's like literally extremely unlucky right now. Will Brennan's another guy that's just hitting balls right at people. It's not that they're being hit, not being hit hard. So they're just right at guys.
Shout out to one of our former guests.
I still like the data I'm seeing to suggest that these slumps, at least for those two guys, are not going to be long term.
For the great debate on this topic.
The guy they really need to get going consistently is Jose Ramirez.
Right? Like we see other
shown
teams
visible signs of frustration over this homestand, rightfully so. He's the leader of this team. And he often leads by example.
I'm not saying any one guy is bigger than the team.
He had a couple hits today, including a double, which is great to see. And I think
something that he can
build off this game heading into Fenway Park.
And it just feels like
Fenway Park's a great park to hit at. He's going to be facing off against his good friend Rafael Devers. I think it's going to be a fun series this weekend.
Leaving guys in AAA for as long as they can.
Another guy behind him in the order, Andres Jimenez, 4 for 36 slump before he got a couple hits today, including a double.
Yesterday that
also got a hit on the wrist again.
To be
quit hitting Andres
Jimenez about their minor league over into this year. This entire
but I really want to see him get going because of full transparency. If I'm going to be brutally honest,
I just hope that Tito isn't.
I really did want to see Andres Jimenez put up something close to the year he had last year again.
I think it's just more frustrating.
I'm not faulting the organization. They had to extend him when they did, or he would have priced themselves right out of their range if he had anything close to the year he had last year.
Not
mad at the organization. I just have concerns.
Juan Brito.
They're not big concerns. Overall, I think he's going to be an outstanding, even if he's a 4 or 5 win player. That's really good.
When Gabby's only getting a couple.
I want to see him get going to just kind of.
Clearly not comfortable in that role.
He's my craziness.
He's striking out at a 46% of the time clip, which just can't happen.
Moving down in the lineup. This could be the longest segment of the show because every single guy in this lineup is struggling right now.
I don't know. It could be argued that
Oscar Gonzalez, he drove in a run with a double today.
Nearly every day.
He's starting to look a lot more comfortable. Getting more at bats over this last week with all the lefties that we faced.
That leaves short.
But on the other side of that, Will Brennan
Rocchio.
seems to lost a little bit of his momentum. After sitting most of the last
Martinez,
week with all the lefties.
Brito,
so it's going to be interesting to see how that right field situation kind of balances
Maybe it happens in July.
Moving forward here as we head into May.
I hope to the baseball guys
Miles Straw, he's significantly cooled off after his hot start.
Just to kind of summarize,
and if you remember, this is kind of the exact way he started last year. He was hot for the first few weeks, and then he fell off a cliff. And for a while, there was the worst hitter statistically in baseball. Picked it up a little bit at the end.
Or add another.
So which Miles Straw are we going to get?
Whether it be a Brian Reynolds,
did he really improve, or is there still a lot more
an
regression to be seen there?
That's something else I'm going to be watching
as we head into Boston this weekend and
so
continue through the month of May.
Call up Richie Palacios his insurance.
And by the way, guys,
I know he's only played second a few times since 2021, but
as we're getting to Tanner Bibee, all that speculation yesterday. Brian Reynolds, the Pirates finally locked him down.
Get in the game anyways.
To an 8-year, $106 million extension.
Brian Rocchio's hitting 344.
The reasonable part of me is very happy for Pirates fans that they finally get to keep one of their players. And we just went through it with Jose Ramirez last year. I was stoked we got to keep him, so I'm happy for Pirates fans.
He's great defense.
Sad because I really have thought for a long time that he's the perfect fit
till next year
for this
outfield. When they do call him up,
why? Because
so I don't really know what to do.
Stephen Kwan, Miles Straw, and Oscar / Will Brennan.
They typically don't miss. So,
but you can't have an everyday outfield that doesn't hit the power. I mean, between all those guys, they have one home run this season.
Heading into this
one home run, and it's going to be May 1st.
Left yesterday's start in the 6th. He took a
line drive. So I wonder what they do if they're not getting any power out of that outfield. If that's an area they would consider upgrading at the trade deadline. Or if they just try to upgrade another area on the team, or just hope that it comes from Jose Bell and Naylor.
So
that remains to be seen, but I don't think that is sustainable.
Dog in him. So let's hope he can make his next start. I think he said he could have went back
so the
rotation.
Game.
He just had to walk it
up
until a little bit.
The debuts of Logan Allen and Tanner Bibee. It had been a mess
Rosario
this whole year.
And Tyler Freeman.
Obviously, we have the injuries. To Tristan McKenzie, which set us behind the 8 ball before even breaking
Rosario is expected
and then Aaron
to be in
Savali as
Friday.
Went out with another one of his injuries, which there's been no update on.
Let's see how they look, right? Or one of these guys.
I would think if it was going to be significantly longer, they probably would have transferred him to the 60-day.
It's going to be a conversation
IL is for the 40-man move, so that gave me a little bit of hope he could be back here soon. But then the guys who are left just haven't been good.
Too much.
Shane
Stick him
Bieber,
at the bottom of the lineup.
his mechanics look all out of
he's
whack.
Getting those infield
his velocity's
singles,
dropped even a bit lower than last year. We need him to get back on track and figure
the weather this weekend in
out
Cleveland looking to be a little
because
rain,
right now he doesn't look like the ace of our staff.
Keep an
he
eye
definitely
on
looks hittable.
There's a doubleheader this
we need
weekend
him to get going.
It's going to make that need for
but then
a
it's like
Cal
Quantrill and Zach Plesac are having some kind of mid-off or something.
Slated to pitch in AAA.
Right, like they neither of them have been able to give us
as of right now
anything like consistent quality starts. So it makes you wonder: is one of them going to stick in the bullpen
this weekend?
Should have been a guard.
So I know I got a couple
mailbag questions about what do I think is from Stephen Kwan's hat, and I think somebody else
for the Miami Marlins
about what do I think the is going to happen with the rotation
versus lefty Braxton Garrett.
I think there is a path where Tanner Bibee and Logan Allen could be in this rotation long-term.
Both struggling a little bit,
and what I would do.
And then Sunday we have Peyton Battenfield.
The rotation's going to reset on Friday. So you got Shane Bieber,
with a
Logan Allen, Cal Quantrill,
just striking
Peyton Battenfield, or Zach Plesac, and Tanner Bibee.
But I want to thank everyone again for listening.
If it were up to me, I would leave Peyton Battenfield in the rotation.
Top 5 of Guardians,
and I would put Zach Plesac in the bullpen.
Keep on sharing. Let's get into that top 5.
I think Peyton Battenfield's cutter is better than any one of Zach Plesac's pitches.
Lanave,
and he's younger.
James and I
I think while the opportunity is there, we should really see what we have in Peyton Battenfield. We know what we have in Zach Plesac. He's an average number 5 starter. Is that valuable?
So make sure you
yes.
message us with more details.
But I would argue that it's more valuable to another team
stay tuned to the podcast
than it is to this our particular rotation. And he also showed signs of being very effective in the bullpen during the playoffs last year.
And,
so I would kind of like to experiment with that
in July,
and see
as well as anything else that comes up.
Kind of catch lightning in a bottle.
In the meantime, make sure you're following the podcast.
Well, then you ask what happens when Tristan comes back here, hopefully at the end of May.
Make sure you head on
over to the He is set to throw a
bullpen
session this weekend.
Is what I meant.
So that is great news for Tristan. Just another step
podcast
to him hopefully coming off the
professional sports,
injured list
Buckeyes,
as scheduled
sports,
at the end of May.
We're now entering baseball and softball.
So when Tristan comes back, I'd go Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie.
Thank you once again for listening, everybody.
Logan Allen, Tanner Bibee, and then you're going to have to choose.
Stay healthy and go one of Guardians.
One of Cal, Battenfield, and Plesac to stay in the
Madison Square Garden.
You cannot send if Logan and Tanner Bibee keep shoving like they did in their debuts, there is no way that you could say you're contending and send those guys back to AAA just so Cal, Plesac, or Battenfield, doesn't get their feelings hurt. When you're contending, some difficult conversations got to be had sometimes. It's just a matter of are they going to be willing to make those changes. And I love the aggressiveness this team is showing with their prospects. I do want to give them credit for that. Because I never thought we'd see Bibee and Allen this early. I was thinking like June just because they'd hold them back. So I am impressed with that. Major props to the organization for getting those guys up here and giving yourself the best chance to win. But there's another certifiably insane part of me that thinks this deadline, and they're not going to do this, so everybody just calm down. But my thought is, I wonder if it would almost be better to trade Shane Bieber at the deadline as opposed to the off season, because if you wait till the off season, whatever team trades for him is only getting 1 year control for Shane Bieber. His value is definitely going to drop. The return you're going to get for him isn't going to be anything like they want. If you traded him at the deadline, which me and Christian CLE were talking about, Bieber for Jordan Walker, who says no? In case you didn't see, the St. Louis Cardinals just sent Jordan Walker, their rookie stud outfielder with a 718 OPS, back down to AAA Memphis. Why? I have no idea. I would do insane things to have an outfielder with a 718 OPS in our lineup. So not sure if there's more to the story there, but that's weird. But the point being is, I think there's a scenario where the team could buy and sell at this year's trade deadline, right? You can kind of unload some of these guys who you're going to lose anyways, but still get better, especially if Logan Allen and Tanner Bibee have time to get experience. I think there could definitely be some value there, especially if you could get a plug and play, say that 5 times fast, a plug and play piece for the outfield that gives you some power. I would definitely be interested in something like that, but again, I don't see the organization doing it. simply just for the same reason they haven't moved Ahmed Rosario. They're worried about what message that would send to the clubhouse, which is fair. And just to be clear, I love Shane Bieber. I'm a big Bieber fan. But I think we all know at this point he's not getting extended. It's just a matter of, do they hold on to him and just take the qualifying offer, or do they try to move him when his value's highest and just, get a decent return for him that you could maybe even use to go out and buy somebody else at the deadline? But what are some more reasons for optimism, right? We got to remember too that this team is 500 right now, and they're only 2 games back of the Minnesota Twins in the division. And the thing that I'm most encouraged about is the Guardians did not wait until the Twins had a 6 or 7 game winning streak and suddenly you're 9 games back in the division before you start making changes. Usually it's like May, we start seeing them make changes. So they're a little ahead of schedule this year. And I think their sense of urgency shows us just how bad they want to contend. So keep in mind, when we have those frustrating nights where the offense can't buy a run, Cal Quantrill's getting chased in the 3rd inning, 4th inning, just remember, this team wants to win, and I really think the organization is going to do what it takes to not have this be a throwaway season. But we have the inconsistent bullpen too, right? The return of Sam Hentges, I think, is definitely going to help this group. He's been looking dominant during his rehab starts, and it's why they were able to send Tim Herron back down. So when you think about it, they've lost 5 out of the last 6 series. Well, that changes now. So they've won 6 out of their last, they've lost 5. So now they've lost 5 out of their last 7 series during the quote unquote easy part of their schedule. And there's still only 2 back in the division. And, the Twins just took a series from the Yankees. They did get blown out today, so we were able to pick up a game there. But the Twins aren't going to go anywhere, right? And the Twins pitching has improved. They're a good team, especially if they stay healthy. So I'm definitely grateful that they're giving themselves the best chance to win with guys like Logan Allen and Tanner Bibee, instead of just throwing out the Connor Pilkingtons, the Kirk McCartys, and the Tanner Tullys of the world, right? So I'm encouraged by that. I think we all should be encouraged. All it takes is 1 game for this offense to break out and get rolling. And remember, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, they went through 2 almost identical streaks to that last season. And I think I just answered Joseph D's mailbag question. He says, we've just lost 2 series to teams that will likely lose 90 to 100 games. Next up is the Red Sox, Yankees, and Twins. Give me some reason for hope that we can go at least 5-4 in that stretch. So again, this is kind of building off what I was just talking about, why we should feel good about being 500, only 2 games back in the division, with basically the worst we could possibly play. If this team tried, I don't think they could play much worse than they played so far this April. Last April, they finished 9-12. And I already mentioned, the data suggests there's plenty of room for improvement still, especially for guys like Josh Naylor. So I do think he's going to be a significant power threat, and not just against righties either. I think some data suggests that he could be serviceable against lefties too. Ahmed. We know Ahmed Rosario, ice cold in April, just god awful in that 2-hole, no plate discipline, and hitting sliders in the other batter's box routinely. But we know, judging off past seasons, that he's going to get hot in May. He's going to do his typical cold, hot, finish with a 100 WRC plus, or right around league average. So we know we're going to get some contributions from Ahmed. And Ahmed's another guy with speed. If him and Kwan can start getting on base regularly, get pitchers pitching out of the stretch, or get pitchers pitching with runners on base, then you get much more favorable opportunities for the middle of your order to be able to drive in runs. So I think it all starts at the top. We know Ahmed's going to heat up a little bit. And think of it, these early struggles bring change. Change that most of us have been screaming for, including bringing guys up like Logan Allen and Tanner Bibee for the rotation. That would have never happened if this team was running away with first place, but just barely getting by, right? So we're getting to see those changes that we've all kind of been calling for. Bring in the future. right? Getting these young arms in the rotation now to get them this valuable experience. And I don't know about anybody else, but after seeing Tanner Bibee on that mound, I don't even think I'd be that worried about him in a playoff atmosphere. Like, some guys just got that dog in them and they don't get rattled. Like, he just strikes me as one of those dudes who's just going to go out and play baseball, right? I know things change under the lights in Yankee Stadium in October, but I definitely like his demeanor and the way he handles himself on the mound. That was encouraging to see too. But, you know, like I said, we're heading into Boston. The Red Sox are not very good this year. They have the 4th worst team ERA in baseball. They've given up 36 home runs, which is 2nd most in all of baseball. And they have the 7th highest batting average against at 261. All that happening in Fenway Park, it sounds like a pretty good formula for the Guardians bats to get hot again. So I think they're in a perfect position to be able to break out of this slump that they're in. And once they do that, once one guy gets going, it's contagious and the rest of the lineup's going to catch on. So if it doesn't happen in the next few weeks, then I'm going to start being concerned. I just think it's too early in the season to start talking about serious regression at this point. You know, some guys just start slow. And especially like Steven Kwan, if he wasn't doing much work over the offseason and Jose Ramirez was rehabbing his thumb all offseason, Andres Gimenez went to the World Baseball Classic. It was kind of a non-traditional offseason for some of these guys, so it may take them a little bit, you know, to get going again. So I think Boston's a great place to make that happen. I think we take the series from the Red Sox this weekend. And that's the week ahead, right? So as we look ahead, we got 3 at Boston after an off day tomorrow. The rotation's going to be reset with Shane Bieber Friday. And then Saturday, he's going to be facing off against right-handed pitcher Nick Pivetta, who is 1-1 with a 4.58 ERA. Saturday is going to be Logan Allen versus righty Garrett Whitlock with a 1.26.19 ERA. And Sunday, I believe it's going to be Cal Quantrill, and he's going to be going against lefty Chris Sale, who looks like he's on sale from the version he used to be. He's 1-2 with an 8.22 ERA. Still striking a lot of guys out, so I'll be interesting to see how that plays against this lineup because we know they do not do well against lefties. But that's definitely something to watch. So between the conditions at Fenway Park, the Red Sox poor pitching, we see the stats I just gave you, and the individual stats of the guys we're facing this weekend. And if the offense can just do their jobs and give us something, I think we're going to put a little winning streak together, which is going to have us all feeling a lot better. Let's be honest. Like, expectations can be the enemy sometimes because we don't enjoy the little things. And I think Tanner Bibee's start today kind of reminded me like why I love the game of baseball. Just seeing him walk on the mound and just look around and take in his surroundings, like, almost made me emotional. Like, I love those moments for these guys. And this is why I love this group. Just how happy I am for their families and for them. And just seeing all the hard work they put in finally pay off is just a treat. And we're all fans of a team who heavily relies on their prospects. So we get to see this quite often. And I'm telling you, it never gets old. But on that note, we're going to wrap it up here. The Cavs game is starting soon. Do or die game 5 against the New York Knicks at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I hear some rumors that the Guardians might be at the game tonight, so hopefully they bring some of that winning juju into the building and help our Cavs extend the season, give them another chance Friday night in New York. But I want to thank you all for listening, sharing, downloading. Again, I know Scott Bibee was supposed to be on tonight. I think you can all understand why he wasn't able to join us this evening. But make sure you are following the podcast Twitter page at Guardians OTCLE regarding when he's going to be back on, as well as all future guests, any announcements regarding the podcast. We'll be sure to put it on the podcast page. But once again, congrats to Tanner Bibee, congrats to Logan Allen and their families on tremendous major league debuts. I cannot wait to see both of these guys anchor in this rotation for years to come. So thank you guys for giving us hope again in a week that we did not have much hope regarding the Guardians. So we're going to hop off here, get ready to watch these Cavs take on the Knicks. That is all for this week. And hopefully next week we're talking about a winning streak and an offensive explosion in the city of Boston. In the meantime, make sure you check out BelieveLandMediaLLC.com to get caught up on all the latest podcasts and written content for the Guards, Cavs, Browns, Buckeyes, and all things high school sports with baseball and softball season underway. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Guardians. And go Cavs too. Beat those Knicks.